Okay, the sun has now dipped down below those hills. Okay, we've got some colour in the sky now. So the weather conditions today are a little bit uncertain, and when I find myself with that, what I tend to do, I'll be careful of my footing, I'm going downhill. When the weather's a bit uncertain, I tend to try to find a location that will work if we get really nice light, but it'll also work if we get no light, if we got, you know, like heavy clouds. And I've come here today to this location behind me, kind of hidden by the trees there, is the Via Camina, I think that's what it's called. And then up there on the hill is a tower. It's not one of the ancient watchtowers that we get around here, the 16th century ones. This one was built, I think, probably in the 1800s. I think it was actually built as a library or a study, probably for the villa. There's plenty of options here. We're right by the sea down there. There's some interesting wind-swept trees. There's the tower. So whatever conditions we end up with in the next hour or so leading up to sunset, hopefully I can find a composition that will work with them. And that's one way to try to make sure that I get an image, rather than committing myself to one particular type of image that's relying on conditions that I'm not sure about. Anyway, I'm going to go and do some more exploring and decide, or try and decide, what shot I'm going to take in what conditions. Okay, so I've got a shot here already. Love the shape of this windswept tree, the way it curves across, creates that kind of dome shape at the top. And I love the fact that the tree is kind of all off to one side. So the composition on this is simple. The top of the tree is pretty much filling the top 2/3 of the frame, bit of breathing room either side. The horizon is probably a little bit under the 1/3 intersection. But because of the shape of the tree, the trunk of the tree comes up pretty much, maybe just slightly in towards the centre, but on the kind of 1/3 line. We've got some quite nice, sort of almost dramatic clouds up there behind the scene. I'm shooting 16 to 35 at probably about, I don't know, 21, 22 millimeters. Focused on the tree. F11. 1/40th of a second. One of the things I've made sure to do is obviously to make sure that the horizon is level, but I'm also making sure that none of the branches and the leaves of the tree are dipping below the horizon line. There's a clear break there. Looks quite nice. I was planning on going down here to have a look, maybe do a shot with the waves breaking and the tower up on the hill, but there's so much dead seaweed washed up on the rocks down here that I think it's just not going to look very nice as a composition. And because the tower's a little bit back in, it's going to make it tricky to get a decent shot of it. So I don't think I'm going to go down there. I might go and have a look, but I don't think it's going to work. Okay, so I've climbed up now up to where the this tower is. Unfortunately, the tower has been heavily graffitied by mindless idiots who seem to think it's okay to do that kind of thing. So if I take a shot of the tower, I am going to have to make a choice as to whether I leave the graffiti in for, you know, realism of the scene, or take it out to make the image look better, or at least in my opinion better. Taking it out is going to involve a bit of work, so I guess it will depend on how well I think the image works anyway. But I'm not really sure where to shoot it from. I can shoot it from this side where I am now, or I can try shooting it from the other side. Standing on the end of this headland here, we've got the sun's going to be setting kind of over that way. But of course, if you're looking that way, you've got lots of buildings and you know, there's towns and everything there. Facing the other way, so long as we don't go too far inland, it's pretty much just coastline. But I'm not really thinking there's any composition that way to shoot. It's about 45 minutes before sunset, nearly 50 minutes before sunset, so I've got a bit of time. I'm not sure if we're going to get anything spectacular sunset wise anyway. Okay, up on the other side of the tower now. Nice cloud patterns in the sky. This side of the tower also isn't so heavily graffitied, so there'd be less work to do in removing graffiti if that's what I choose to do. I've been really struggling to compose this shot. I wanted to go for a portrait orientation, and I wanted quite a lot of the sky in because it's got that kind of quite streaky cloud, quite streaky kind of patterns in the cloud, which I think will look quite nice. But I just couldn't seem to get it quite right. I'm shooting wide angle, as I said, portrait orientation. The tower, just the bottom of the tower is just sort of bisecting the horizon line out on the sea. There's some kind of warm tones over there in the direction that the sun's coming down. The tower, middle of the tower, sorry, the top of the tower is kind of sitting just below the centre of the frame, and then the rest is that sort of quite moody sky. Sun's dropping down over there. We are about 13-14 minutes before official sunset, but what's going to happen is the sun's going to drop behind some hills over there. I would think 5 minutes, something like that. I don't think the sun's going to break through the cloud with sufficient intensity to do a sun star, but if it looks like it's going to, then I'll set up a shot accordingly to try and get a sun star to blend in. But I think it's unlikely. I think there's too much thin cloud there and it's just going to be too hazy. And then once the sun drops down, we'll wait and see what happens with the sky post sunset. Okay, the sun has now dipped down below those hills. There was one point when I thought there might have just been just a hint of a sun star, but I think it was a little bit too hazy. I don't think it'll be a nice crisp sun star. I think it'll be a bit blurry. Now it's just a case of waiting and seeing what happens with that sky. Okay, we've got some colour in the sky now, quite low down. The highest band of colour is pretty much around by the top of the tower. And what I could really do with is that colour moving up into the sky a little bit more, maybe another band of colour across the top, just to create a bit more interest in the top part of the sky. Because at the moment it's very dark and blue. It looks quite nice, it's textured, but I'm just hoping we get maybe another band of colour, or that band moves up a little bit. That would look nice. Okay, the colours behind me, behind the tower, have all faded. There's still some nice colours over in the direction of sunset, but there's not really a composition that way that I think works. There was a beautiful, vibrant, textured cloud formation over that way. Lovely shape. And I did quickly throw on the 70-200 lens at 70mm and just try to get a shot of that. But although the cloud looks lovely, I don't think the composition is strong enough for it to actually work as an image. I'll show you the image anyway, now. And if I've shown you that image just as a quick flash up of an image, you'll know it didn't work. And if I've shown it to you with the, you know, the sort of zoom around and the nice border around it, then you'll know it did work. My suspicion is it'll be a quick flash up of the image because I don't think it'll work. But beautiful evening. Wasn't expecting a sunset as nice as this, and I'm really glad I came out because actually I almost didn't. And that's it for this evening's video. I'm going to pack up now, head for home, get some food. If this video is about anything, it's about kind of hedging your bets when you're not sure what the conditions are going to be like. I came here with a plan that would work for a nice sunset, which I ended up getting, but also with a plan to do some other kind of stuff if the light was a bit flat and horrible. And as it turned out, I got the nice sunset, so I was lucky. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have and you're not already a subscriber, then now would be a great time to just hit that subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber, then of course, thank you very much. I do appreciate that. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider hitting that thumbs up, the like button, and maybe sharing this video on social media. As always, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a comment, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. So thank you very much. And until the next video, bye.